Ex-Muslim encountered Jesus and was told shocking truth about Islam. Near-dead experience. ND today's experience comes from a brother who was once a Muslim, an imam no less, until he encountered Jesus and became a transformed believer. Stick with us until the end to hear his powerful journey. My name is Joseph Bashi, though I was once known as Muhammad Bashi. Growing up, I embraced Islam with a deep passion, instilled in me from a young age. My life was centered around the 5 daily prayers, reciting the Quran, and fasting during Ramadan. It was a disciplined life, and I took great pride in my devotion to my faith. When I was sent to a mixed-religion boarding school with my best friend Kareem, I felt both excited and nervous. We knew we'd face challenges, especially in an environment where Christians and Muslims shared classrooms. But our faith remained firm. Each morning, before the sun rose, Kareem and I would wake up for Fajr, the dawn prayer. No matter what was happening around us, whether exams were nearing or other students were engaged in activities, we stuck to our prayer times like clockwork. By midday, we joined the other Muslim students for Duha prayer, and we continued this routine for every prayer throughout the day. Our dedication didn't go unnoticed. Teachers and peers often commented on our discipline, and we earned a reputation for our unwavering commitment. But after graduation, things changed. Kareem and I parted ways, each pursuing our own paths. I didn't realize then that we would never cross paths again. The bond we shared was deep, and saying goodbye was harder than I expected, but we had our own futures to chase. He went one way, I went another. Despite losing touch, I remained dedicated to the values we had shared. The solitude that came with losing my closest friend only strengthened my personal relationship with Allah. As I began my higher education, I immersed myself in my studies, always keeping my faith at the forefront. University opened new opportunities, both academically and spiritually. I became known not just for my academic achievements, but also for my leadership within the Muslim Student Society. My commitment to Islam was recognized through awards for leadership and service. It was a time of personal growth. I led prayer groups, organized community outreach, and delved deeper into the Quran. I felt guided by Allah's hand, walking a divine path. By the time I graduated, my dedication had earned me several recognitions, and I was approached by local mosques for leadership roles. After completing my studies, I was honored to become the imam of a mosque in our city, leading the congregation, guiding people in prayer, and offering counsel became my life's work. The responsibility was immense, but it filled me with purpose. I was living the life I had always dreamed of, devoted to serving Allah and my community. It was during this time, as an imam, that I encountered a comment in a social media discussion that would change everything. Everything changed the day a man named Julius Moses posted about Jesus being the Son of God. It was a statement that shook me to my core and challenged everything I had believed. I couldn't just let it slide, so I responded, firmly arguing that Jesus was merely a prophet, nothing more, as the Quran teaches. What began as a simple comment quickly escalated into a full-blown debate. Julius and I exchanged words, each quoting our holy texts, he, the Bible, and I, the Quran, each of us steadfast in our beliefs. The discussion moved to private messages, where it only grew more intense. I was sure of my position. Jesus was a prophet, no more, no less. Julius, however, was equally firm in his belief that Jesus was the Son of God. Despite hours of debate, neither of us was able to convince the other. We finally reached a standstill, agreeing to disagree, each holding on to our own faith. After days of back and forth, we parted ways, assuming that would be the end of it. Or so I thought. That night, something extraordinary happened. I went to bed as usual after evening prayers, not expecting anything out of the ordinary. But then something strange took over. I found myself floating, weightless, and fully conscious. This wasn't a dream. It felt too real. I wasn't experiencing a heart attack or any physical shock, yet there I was, outside of my own body. In the blink of an eye, I found myself standing on a narrow, dark path. The air was thick with dread, and ahead of me stood a large gate with the word Hell written across it in bold, unmistakable letters. My heart raced. Before I could even consider turning back, agonizing screams echoed from the other side, cries of suffering so horrifying I had never imagined. An angel appeared beside me, radiant and full of light. His presence filled me with awe and fear. Without a word, he led me toward the gate, which opened on its own. What lay beyond was terrifying. A river of molten lava stretched endlessly before me, and floating on it were mosques, places I had always considered sacred. But inside these mosques, people were burning, writhing in endless torment. The flames consumed them, yet they never fully perished. Their pain was unbearable. They were crying out to Muhammad, begging for mercy, but none came. Demons, brutal and merciless, tormented them without end. The sounds of their suffering echoed in my ears. The angel guided me inside one of the mosques. The heat was unbearable, and the smell of burning flesh filled the air. What I saw inside was more horrifying than anything I had ever imagined. The souls within were chained, bound tightly. Their faces were twisted in agony, their skin melting off their bodies like wax from a candle, only to regenerate and burn again, over and over in an endless cycle of torment. I watched in horror as one man was submerged into a pool of molten lava that hissed and bubbled as it consumed him. He sank beneath the surface, screaming for help, but no one could hear. Beneath the surface, the man screamed, his mouth open wide as if pleading for help, but no sound escaped. Just as he seemed to disappear into the molten lava, he would rise again, fully intact, yet still screaming as his flesh melted once more. It was an endless cycle of suffering, no relief, no death, no end, just the torment of drowning and burning over and over again. Turning to another corner of the mosque, I saw a group of men and women standing together. Their limbs were twisted at impossible angles, as if their bones had been shattered and reset in the most excruciating ways. Just when their bodies reached their breaking point, their limbs snapped back into place, only to be violently contorted again. Their cries were raw and guttural, filled with terror, yet the demons tormenting them showed no mercy. They moved like shadows, silent, yet exuding malice. These dark, faceless creatures carried out their torment with cold, mechanical precision. There was no escape. Every time the souls seemed to lose consciousness, the pain intensified, dragging them back into wakefulness. One woman, her face covered in painful blisters, reached out toward me, her eyes wide with desperation. She called out for Muhammad, but there was no answer. No prophet came, no savior appeared. Nearby, a man, his hands and feet nailed to a fiery wall, was being dragged into the molten ground by a chain around his neck. As his body was pulled, his flesh tore away, exposing scorched bones. But even in this unimaginable agony, he couldn't die. His body reformed only for the torment to begin again. His lips moved in prayer, but no words emerged. His eyes, filled with hopelessness, searched for salvation that never came. This was no nightmare or illusion. It was real. The souls trapped in this place were enduring unimaginable suffering. As I stood among them, my heart raced, and my thoughts swirled in confusion. These people, these souls, were just like me. I saw it in their faces, in their desperate prayers and outstretched hands. They had lived the same life I had. They had prayed 5 times a day, fasted during Ramadan, given generously to charity. They had followed Islam faithfully, yet here they were, trapped in this place of unrelenting suffering. Why? How could this be? The question weighed heavily on me, suffocating me with its intensity. Every time I looked at the faces of the tormented, I saw myself. What had they done wrong? What had I missed? My mind flashed back to my own life, my years of dedication, the countless hours spent in prayer, leading others in worship, the sacrifices I had made to follow the path of Islam. Was it all in vain? I didn't need to voice my confusion. The angel, who had been silently standing beside me, turned and looked at me with eyes that seemed to pierce through my soul. His face radiated light, calm, yet filled with undeniable authority. He had seen my turmoil and confusion. Before I could speak, he gently, yet firmly, spoke words that would shake me to my very core. At the core of it all, I realized that salvation cannot be earned. It's not about deeds, but about Jesus Christ. Without him, no one can escape this place. I had spent my entire life believing that my good deeds, prayers, fasting, charity, were enough to secure my place in paradise. But now, in this place of torment, that belief fell apart. I could see the truth clearly. The souls here had lived righteous lives by human standards, yet their deeds hadn't saved them from this eternal suffering. My mind was overwhelmed by the implications. Could everything I'd been taught, everything I believed, be missing the one truth? These souls had followed the same path I once walked, believing that devotion to Allah would be enough. But it wasn't. The truth became clear. Only Jesus Christ is the way. Without him, there is no escape from this place. No amount of good works can bridge the gap. Only his sacrifice on the cross can. The angel explained that this fate wasn't just for Muslims, but for anyone who died without accepting Christ, whether Muslim, Buddhist, or from any other religion. Hell is the destination for all who reject Jesus as Savior, no matter how many good deeds they have done. The souls kept crying out, but Muhammad never appeared. And then, as suddenly as it had all begun, the scene changed. I found myself in a place of peace and indescribable beauty. The colours were beyond anything I had ever seen, and the people there glowed with joy, their faces radiating happiness. I knew instinctively that I was in heaven. The angel spoke softly. This is the place for those who have accepted Jesus Christ. They will live here forever in joy and peace. From a distance, I saw a golden city, its buildings shining in the light. There was no pain here, no suffering, only eternal happiness. I woke up with a start, drenched in sweat. My heart raced and I could hardly breathe. The vision had been far too real to be just a dream. Sitting on the edge of my bed, shaking, I tried to make sense of what had just happened. It was clear to me that something profound had occurred. Since that night, I've felt an unwavering conviction. This wasn't just a dream, it was a message, a warning. Now I know that true salvation comes only through Jesus Christ, and I feel compelled to share this truth. As someone who has repented, I've faced much persecution, but it only strengthens me every day. We cannot rely on our deeds alone. There is an urgency, a call to be faithful to Christ, for the time to choose is now. So friends, as we wrap up today's experience, please like and share this video with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on your notification bell so you're the first to know when we post a new experience. Stay blessed.